From the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello again to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased to have with me, joining me from India, Ankur Verma. Ankur, thank you very much for being on the show with me today. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about your journey? And then we will discuss more about True Gradient as well.
Absolutely. Hi, Mehmet. Pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for having me in the show. Yes, definitely. I would like to talk about who am I and what am I building over here. So this is Ankur, as you mentioned, and I come from a hardcore machine learning background. I have 10 years of experience after my graduation into machine learning. I work with by education, I'm an engineer. I did my engineering back in 2013. Post that, I started doing analytics, and my data science journey or machine learning journey started really at Walmart Labs, where I was working in merchant technology team, taking care of initially pricing, churning out the price velocity solutions at a scale of 300,000 active items. Moving on to the replenishment area, wherein I was responsible for designing the neural architecture for determining the solutions of if an item store combination is in out of stock, excess inventory, and determining the days of inventory, henceforth, to be able to get the purchase order right. So that was my Walmart experience. And then my latest experience was at Amazon India, wherein I was part of the Amazon Pay here, wherein we used to design the neural architectures. Again, here I was the neural architect design, to identify what is the right offers that we should be giving to the customers. So let's say Uber in India, or different types of online merchants in India, they collaborate with Amazon to get offers. So we're at a scale of 65 million Indian customers. We are trying to churn out what's the right offer given the budget. So that's what my Amazon experience was. Over the period of time, I also worked with some of the software as a service company as a founding member. Like at Samya.ai, I was a founding member over there, wherein I was the architect, like the neuroscience architect of the demand forecasting engine, right? Wherein I worked with 12 enterprise companies over there to be able to establish what is the right demand, that assessment, to assess the demand at the granular level, like the most granular level, which probably happens to be the item store. So yeah, that's my sense.
Yeah, so really very impressive, I would say. Now, with this experience across these all various tech giants that you mentioned, Ankur, like from Amazon, Walmart Labs, as well as your, the field of machine learning and deep learning that's been. So what inspired you to start True Gradient, and how the previous experience helped you in shaping this startup?
Right. So that's a great question, Mehmet. And I come from an optimization background, like in my past experience, and I've always been a big fan of automation. Frankly speaking, like I always like to automate things and to be able to get the manual work lesser as much as I can in my past 10 years of experience. So while I started my analytics journey back in 2012, right, and data science journey, ML was not a very common norm at that point of time. Like machine learning was just coming up, right? Just the academicians had started publishing papers, and lesser videos was existing. And there was another trend called competitions. A lot of data science competitions was also up during 2012-13. Kaggle is a very good platform, which a lot of today, more than 2 million data scientists sits over there and does competition. But started doing competitions on these platforms back in 2013 and 14. And that helped me to understand some of the articles that or some of the solutions that are being designed by the great folks sitting at MIT, Stanford, building solutions at like larger scale, right? So then I was, yeah, I was very clear that, and hence doing these, like I would have done 60 plus ML challenges, frankly speaking, in my 8 years of journey, right, prior to Amazon. That motivated me to come up with a very strong automated machine learning architecture, which is called auto machine learning kind of thing. Yes, during the COVID time, started working over that, and I saw that wherever I was going in my experience, the main thing which I was doing actually repeatedly, or any project that I was working, I was trying to design. I was trying to design that machine learning architecture in an automated fashion, which can be used as an example. Something which I designed in 2016 at Walmart, it's still being used, which is a very interesting thing to think of, right? It is being enhanced, has been enhanced, but the base still remains. So that was the motivation behind coming, and that was the learning that was there to be able to go deeper into the solutions, right? Like an example, our experience, my experience, and my company folks' experience, like in supply chain area, right? So we thought that why don't we go ahead and build something in the supply chain area, automate the machine learning part in the supply chain area as much as we can, and hence hence I really garnered this particular skill set.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So if you can give, the audience a simple explanation of what True Gradient does and how does it stand out outside the competitive AI landscape.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely. So, TrueGradient.ai is, I would say it's a deep tech technology platform from the backend perspective. Yes. And what type of problems it is solving? It's AI technology that we have built over here. So if we look at today, in the area of retail business, CPG business, FMCG, D2C brands, like all of these types of organizations, one of the most important thing in this competitive world has become, are you able to assess your demand and changing consumer behavior, right? Well, and be able to fulfill the demand at the right point of time or not. So that has become a very important thing. And in order to do so, right, all of these organizations needs to be on the top of having their inventory levels right, be available for what they're trying to sell, right? And at the same point of time, be cognizant that they're not overstocking items, right? Like as an example, if you consider food and beverages, grocery department, right, as an example, kind of thing, then here, yes, availability is an important factor, but there is a shelf life constraint for these kinds of business. So you cannot be, overstocked every time, because that leads to a lot of loss in terms of items, because the items are going to be expired. So in order to strike a balance, right, at the inventory level, what is the right inventory optimization is a complex problem to solve, right, in the supply chain area, especially because to be able to determine the inventory for the consumer, right, at that level, you need to solve very small problems at a different node level, right? Like from the manufacturing to the distribution to the tertiaries to the consumer, and finally retailer and to the consumer. So that's what we identified as a larger problem, right, from inventory perspective. And we started building solutions from machine learning standpoint and optimization standpoint, right? Taking all the constraints from business and solving for the right inventory levels. That was the first part of the True Gradient phenomena. Second, we also realized that when we talk to a lot of retailers, what becomes important is out of multiple product mix, which is available, like a lot of assortment can be possible, a lot of products can be available. Are you having the right assortment mix while the customers are visiting you or not? So that's called assortment planning or planogram. So our company also solves for the entire end-to-end, what products at what time at what shelf is something which we solve for. So this is the second part of the problem that we are solving in terms of assortment. And the third part is the markdown optimization. So a promotion is very crucial in this competitive world, right? Are you as an online seller, as a e-commerce business, are you having the right type of incentivization for the customer or not, right? So in order to perform that promotional planning, you need to strike a balance between your earned money versus the consumer, right? So what consumer is paying for it. So the optimal pricing that should be set up is the third pain point which we had identified and introduced that into our model.
Yeah, that's great to hear, actually. Now, one thing, when I was preparing and we have checked also like last week, I get to know that your company uses no code AI for supply chain solutions.
Correct.
Now, how do you ensure that these complex systems are accessible and usable for businesses without special technical knowledge?
Absolutely. And that's where, Mehmet, the deep technology, which I mentioned on the first place before going into business, comes into perspective. Over the period of 3 to 4 years, and even in the experience of last 10 years, having worked with like multiple firms like Walmart, Amazon, building a SaaS work with multiple enterprise companies, what we have done over here is to be able to build systems at the backend, AI systems at the backend, right? Which are far more complicated, right? Introducing certain machine learning techniques, introducing certain deep learning techniques, and building it in automated fashion. So that is the layer that we have solved over a larger period of time, like bringing in different types of data into it and trying to solve it. Now, the key question was for us, can we go ahead and build a platform on over and above this complicated system, which can be a very, very simple platform, right? Just taking few inputs and be able to solve the problem. So what we have done, we have built a platform over this auto machine learning architecture, right? That we have built. And that platform only seeks inputs, which are inputs which the demand planners, from our perspective, the supply chain managers from our perspective, or growth managers have been doing day to day, are dealing with day to day basis. So we seek just like 5 to 6 basic inputs, right, from the customer with the data connection. Like we should have the data. There are some prerequisites of the data that we need. So as an example, for demand forecasting, we need the POS or the sales data, right, as a prerequisite. That should be a part of it. For replenishment, we need sales plus orders data as an example. So just having the data information, the basic data tagging information, along with that, the objective of the problem in a humanly simplified manner or in a layman fashion, right? I want to do a forecasting at an item store granularity of my sales for a particular period of time is good enough for my machine to, from the backend, to go ahead, run, and produce the results, whatever is required. So that's what we have been solving in the past. We have been busy solving to simplify this process in the past 1.5 years.
Yeah, that's great, Ankur, to know. Now, you mentioned a couple of problems you tried to solve actually with your company through Gradient. And personally, I read a lot of tech articles, and I love when I see technology going to solve certain, I would say, vertical problems. And here we talk about supply chain. So now, you talked about forecasting, you talked about merchandising and replenishment, right? So what's your approach to tackling these diverse problems? And do you see any commonalities in the solutions? Like, are they, tackled the same way? Because now you have also your own experience and you are doing now with your startup. So do you see any commonalities there in the solution?
I think that's a great question, Mehmet. And that's what I always talk to when I talk to our customers. And I always try to mention that that there is a huge commonality in all of these problems that we're trying to solve, because supply chain at different nodes are being driven by the end consumer behavior that is being driven by that on the priority basis. So we always see that at the center sits your demand planning, that how good the forecasting or demand assessment that has happened over there. So all of these problems that I mentioned about, right, be it demand planning, be it merchandising, be it replenishment, or the pricing and promotion solutions, right? Demand planning solution or demand forecasting sits at the center. If you have, so what we typically do is like we run the demand forecasting, right, for solving any of the problem. And then while solving demand forecasting, we determine different types of outputs, right? We determine different types of outputs and we run certain simulations and optimizations over the same demand forecasting model, which is a trained model, right? To be able to estimate, let's say, let's talk about replenishment as an example. So for solving replenishment, you need to assess the demand for the particular period of time. And secondly, you need to know what is the availability for you at this point of time. Like what is the stock on hand at the purchase order that you have already done, right? So the main thing that happens is like a demand forecasting again over there, and then writing certain inequalities and different optimizations to get your inventory level. So we have created our product in an interconnected fashion, is what I would say, right? And in order to solve one problem, right? In order to solve multiple problems, we have abstracted it to the level that you go ahead, feed inputs, right? And be able to solve all the problems together.
Yeah.
Using model. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great, Ankur. Now, again, the supply chain was on the spot, especially, the past few years, right? So we saw a lot of challenges that was facing supply chain. It caused like some global disruptions also as well. Now, do you see your company, True Gradient, leveraging AI, being able to help business navigate in the future similar challenges?
Absolutely. Because in today's world, the world is changing if you think about it. People are getting lazy, right? In today's
Right.
world, if you think about it, channels have become a very, very important factor. So in the past, I was just talking a Walmart experience, right? If you go back in 2000 area, right? 2000 time, then brick and mortar was like, go, hey, I want to go do shopping, be in the store and everything, right? That was the norm at that point of time. Today also, I wouldn't say it's not a norm. Like it's a norm today also because people enjoy and he was going outside, but people have become busy. So today, the channels through which the transaction is happening is just not the retailers, but it's e-commerce. It's different. It's even modern traders, general traders like e-commerce, and there are different types of channels which are coming up. Right now, the approach to solve these problems, right, are not necessarily the same if you think about it. Like in terms of what is the right stock in that you should be giving, and what is the right strategy in which the fulfillment should happen for all of these customers have become slightly different. So what we are trying to do through True Gradient is we are trying to bring all of these aspects, like the futuristic aspects of the way the trends are moving in the supply chain industry. We're trying to bring them together and solve customer problems in that particular fashion as well. So as an example, with one of our customers, we are seeing a huge change in trend from the customers doing purchases from general traders to modern traders, especially in one of the area, right? So due to those changes, a lot of strategic and planning changes also needs to happen, right? For them, be available more in the modern traders, as example. So what are the ways in which you can run optimization, or what are the ways in which you can cut the threads from the general traders to model traders, right? As an example, are the key things that we're trying to solve.
Yeah, that's great. And one thing I want to ask you also, Ankur, with all significant research, and you told me that you do these participate in these competitions and so on. So I'm sure you have a kind of, I would say, your own vision on how AI will be, and machine learning, of course, will be adapted in businesses. So how you are seeing this, coming in the future with machine learning, deep learning, and all of this? Where do you see things heading, and how you think True Gradient will adapt also to these changes?
Absolutely. So again, that's a great question again, because in the recent past, you think about it. So the chat GPT framework kind of thing it's not that it has come now. It was available long time back as well, but it's just that it's accessible. It has become accessible to people in the past 6 months, right? I still remember you working over transformer architecture back in 2016, 15. This is like 7, 8 years back in time, right? Now, one of the things that I observed last year, like since past last year, once this chat GPT became a norm for people to go to. Yes, marketing is one of the things that people have started using significantly, but even a lot of companies who wants to, leverage AI ML technique and not sure that is this going to work or not, are very much ready to at least adopt and see that what are these AI techniques? How can I leverage, let's say, chat GPT to forecast? As like people are asking questions that, hey, is there a chat GPT available for forecasting? Is there a chat GPT available for inventory optimization? So that's the level wherein people have started thinking about from the business perspective, right? And the reason for that is what I have assessed over the time and seen certain companies grow in the past 10 years, especially in the supply chain area and the FMCG and CPG area, is that the competition, as I mentioned, is a big thing, because let's say in these kinds of areas, brand making is a very, very significant aspect, because when I am a person who will always go and do purchase a mango yogurt of a specific brand, it will be very hard for anybody to come and cut my to take a share and cut my mango yogurt trend to some other brand trend, right? So it's a hard industry to do that. Like, now people are trying to identify what are the ways in which we can do that, and especially with the data availability there. I think there is a significant change in the mindset of all these demand strategy builders, right? The planning and the strategy guys, vice president operations guys in different industries, to adopt the AI techniques and see and also go to the level of making strategies. What should be the right business strategy for next quarter or the next 6 months? Yeah. So that's the trend I have observed from my perspective, right? Over here. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I remember, like I was saying, when we met last week, I was telling you that now people, when you go to them and you say you have an AI powered solution, and another friend also I met last week told me the same, the first thing people ask, hey, what is the chat box here, right? So people think that it's only chat. While, there are a lot of things that happens in the background that majority of the people, maybe they are not, they are aware of it. I mean, because I think us humans, we like user interfaces. And I believe the reason why ChatGPT from, I would say, commercial perspective is a success, it's because we are like we humans, we like to chat, right? So we would like to interact, whether by typing or by speaking, or this is why Siri at the first place was a success, for example, because you can interact using voice. Now ChatGPT, people went back, like I would say, maybe they are not aware. They went back when something like ICQ and MYRC was very famous, where you type and, everyone was saying, person there is real, is a bot, but now they are very happy that actually a machine is answering them, which is very interesting. Now, Ankur, you from your company perspective, we talked about supply chain. Who is your ideal customer, I would say? Who's your ICP?
Correct. Yeah. Currently, yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So, as I mentioned, we are solving problems for type of, I would say, for the harder type of categories, right, over here. So primarily the FMCG retailers, CPG companies who are every day dealing with, let's say, so in the food and beverage category, as an example, is one of the most important categories that we have considered, right? Over here, when the shelf lives are low, you need to have a very robust demand forecasting architectures, right? To be able to inventory planning optimization solutions, to be able to get these solutions right over here. So our ICP happens to be these organizations, right? And the category, and who are in the categories wherein the low shelf life exists, right? For you. That is the first kind of ICP that we have created. And the second one is in the fashion brands, because fashion brands are tough to predict because the fashion changes every time, right? If you think about the footwear, the jeans, lifestyle wear, and all of these things, that it changes significantly. And the reason for having these as an ICP is because of the deep technology which is required to solve these problems, right? In the traditional way, it's very hard to solve a fashion-related problem or a food and beverage-related problem, because they are not just average solutions, but they are far more complicated solutions, wherein you need to build neural network architectures robust enough, and like some of the great optimization solutions to solve such problems to realize revenue gain. So that's what I would say.
That's great. Now, I'm asking you these questions. Of course, you and I, we know. But one of the things that I like in the show to highlight, and your startup, you already have some traction. Who is your ultimate persona to go and talk to when you approach any company?
Absolutely. So typically the strategy and the planning folks, right, who are building strategies for their companies, the supply chain planner guys, right, who are there, primarily the chief operating officers as well, COOs who are responsible for, who are the decision makers with respect to how the operation is going to run as well, would be the ideal person for us to go and talk.
Yeah, that's great. And maybe you understood, Ankur, why I'm asking these questions. So because I want people to understand. And the thing, what I liked about what Ankur and his team they have done is that they have done it all right when from a startup perspective. So they spotted their problem. A lot of people they have it, and this problem it's worth to solve it because it saves them huge amount of time, money, reduce risk, and even it can increase revenue with the demos that you showed me last time. So it's amazing story, I would say, from you, Anchor. Now, as we are coming almost to the end, this is like a little bit not related to machine learning and AI. It's a little bit more, to your own experience. So you've worked with the large corporates, Amazon, Walmart, and the big names all over there. And now you are running a startup. What advice would you give to fellow entrepreneurs or aspiring data scientists, maybe who may be considering a similar path?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say firstly that today, wherever I am, it has been, I will attribute that significantly to my experience at companies like Walmart, Amazon, even other companies wherein I have worked at, but primarily these companies wherein I have worked. So one of the advice which I would give is basically what becomes critical is we are doing work in day-to-day basis from data science or machine learning perspective. We are seeing a huge scope in terms of utilizing our skills that we are learning over here to be able to go ahead and implement it, right? In different sectors and different organizations, right? So, one of the things that becomes crucial is somebody picking up such kinds of technology learnings that they're getting and the business learnings, obviously, that they're getting from these companies. And it's a very, very fair chance in today's world to go ahead and try it out and, go ahead and look out for, as you rightly mentioned, like if there is a problem space which is existing or an opportunity which is existing and build a product around that. So that is one thing that I would say that the world is looking for such kinds of solutions to come, especially in the AI world to go on. And yeah, I mean, people are very open to talk about, firms are really open to talk about the different types of problems that people are solving as a startup or as an entrepreneur, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing to a lot of data scientists or data science practitioners is always be deep in what we are trying to do, right? Is a very important thing, which I have tried to at least abide by in the past 10 years, right? To be able to, rather than the tendency is like just to understand, have a superficial level understanding, and try to implement it. But that doesn't really work well unless you have gotten into the deep depth of mathematics and understood the algorithms and understood the problem solving or the problem that you're trying to solve well enough. So go deeper in whichever algorithms you are going or whichever problem spaces you are going and try to understand it end to end, because any problem or any solution, as an entrepreneur, I've seen is like a area wherein you can really, if you go deeper into it, you can make $1 billion business as well. If you can find the right customers. So depth is one of the things which I always focus over and I try to follow in my life as well.
Yeah, and of course you had to do the validation as well, Anchor, right?
Absolutely. Yes. You have to do the validation. That is super important.
Yeah. So Anchor, where we can find more about your company? Well, what's your website? I will put that in the episode description.
Absolutely. So our website is truegradient.ai. So that's our website. And over there, we have a demo instance as well up, right? If somebody would like to try out a demand forecasting, inventory forecasting, price optimization module, so we allow that, like a subscription, like free subscription, like somebody can go ahead, validate the business, do some kind of diagnosis over the business, that how is the business running, feeding in the data, over there. So truegradient.ai, there is a sign in button over there. So, and that is our presence on the website, and somebody can reach us, book a demo as well. If you press on book and demo, we get a notification and we automatically send out the demo instance as well. The demo instance. Yeah.
That's great. Ankur, is there any question that you wished I asked you? This is my famous last question.
I think you've covered a great detail of the questions that I would have wished to talk to over here. All right. One of the questions that I think can be a part of this conversation would be around, I guess, how to actually, how does the transformation of a data scientist happen to an entrepreneur, right? Like being a data scientist and moving.
Yeah. Yeah, please. If you want to give like a quick hint.
Yeah, right. Because when you are a machine learning scientist, then and especially being published papers in the past, like top deep tech. Now, how do you convert yourself from a deep tech person to be able to do a business? Right? Is a thing.
Right.
And that, so yeah, I mean, basically, it boils down to how we can. In my experience, what I've seen is requires a lot of personality change, right? And really takes a year, 1.5 years to be able to do that. So initially, when we do when I used to do the conversations with a lot of customers or generally talking, I used to be very technical, right? So then how do you understand the conscience of the person and try picking the abstract out that, hey, you need to hit what the person is looking to hear and understand the pain point of the person, empathize with the person, rather than talking about all the technology and what you are excited about. So changing personality altogether is a key skill that I am learning.
Yeah, there is a saying that goes like, once an engineer, always an engineer, right? So I felt it also back in the days, although like I shifted to a completely sales role. But, when I was still talking, the customers used to end by asking, can you let your account manager send us the quotation? I said, okay, I'm the accountant. And because, I went so much the deep technical details, to be fair with you, Ankur, like some people, they love it also as well, because it shows like you have both, the strong technical background and you have the business acumen, which is, for every customer is like the ultimate, I would say, thing. This company that we are now about to sign up with them, like your company, the guys, they are not just selling for the sake of selling, actually, because, they have the technical background. We are confident if they have any, support case in the future. So these guys knows what they are doing. And at the same time, from business perspective, they understand how business usually works and they are solving this problem. So yeah, it was a great discussion, Ankur. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining me today. And as Ankur mentioned, the website will be available in the episode description. Thank you very much, Ankur, for your time today. And as usual, this is the way I end each episode. If you have any feedback or question about this episode in specific or the show in general, please reach out to me directly. You can send me an email. I'm very active you can see now with our new cover all the social media handles. So feel free to reach out to me. And if you are interested to be a guest, same how Ankur was a guest today, also don't be shy. Just hit me a message or a DM and I'll be ready to discuss. We can arrange for the time and the day and, all the logistics, I would say. But please reach out because as you can see, I try to have a diversity in the show, bringing, CEOs of startups, which is my favorite one, honestly, to talk about how they are solving problems, or CTOs sometimes. And, also we discuss some other aspects of entrepreneurship, which is more related to marketing, sales, and all the other stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this episode today. Thank you very much. And we'll meet again very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mehmet. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.